Hello, my name is Seb. Welcome to the DeFi Alpha Gaming Guild channel. I'm one of the co-founders of the guild, and today I'm going to give you a whole lot of alpha. Now I'm just going to whiz through quite a few things. Of course, it's not financial advice. Do a little bit of your research, of course, always. And if you want a little bit more information, or if you've got a couple of questions, just join us in Discord. We'll post our link below. However, quite often I will be referencing other videos. So if you're serious about actually learning about this stuff, I'll try and direct you to videos that will get you there sooner. I would definitely suggest watching some of those. First up, we're at Twitter and we're having a look at the Prism Protocol. Now, if you haven't watched any of Gerry's stuff or listened to the Gerry's, or if you haven't listened to Gerry's Lunar Orbit podcast, make sure you do that religiously. If you're not bullish on Luna, that's fine. If you know everything there is about Luna, I doubt it. But if you do, then don't worry. But if you don't, just listen to his stuff. He puts in hours of research. He's such a good researcher. And then he comes and spits out 10-minute videos. So do yourself a favor. We're not just going to be shilling something. We do a proper amount of research. Now, when it comes to Prism, essentially what this is you take your Luna token, you deposit it into Luna, they stake it. And what you can do is you can forego the Luna rewards and you can earn the Prism token. You can then accumulate more Prism and then take that Prism, kind of compound the gains and end up earning like 60% or more in Prism rewards. And I'll show you what the price looks like shortly of the Prism token. But basically, most, like 80% of all Prism is staked. So there's just this huge pressure just to keep on staking. And if you're familiar with like things like Olympus DAO, we stake, compound. It's nothing like that. It's just watch Gerry's videos. Long story short, if you're in Terra or if you want to get into Terra, this is Gerry's #1 tip as a Terra altcoin, and it's something that I have gone and bought some, and I'm staking it. Continuing on Terra, let's quickly go over, if you're not familiar with it, basically the Do Kwon bet. So Do Kwon is like the CEO of Terraform Labs, and TFL is basically trying to decentralize, and they're trying to get all of that Luna and everything gifted slowly to the Luna Foundation Guard, which is like to set up and further the ecosystem of Luna. Now, Do Kwon is a bit of a troll on the internet, as many people are, like kind of like a bit of a Elon Musk in a way. He's just very certain of his views. And of course, like he wants Luna to be super successful. So someone at Aavegotchi Trading basically said when Luna was $88, I bet you $1 million this time next year it will be below $88. Long story short, Do Kwon's now made $10 million worth of bets that it will be over $88 a year from now, and a year being like a week ago. And funny, because Aavegotchi has now changed his name to Aavegotchi.ust. The TLDR, just to condense alpha there, is, in my opinion, for someone to be called out like that and just to respond with, and Do has a whole lot of money, so it's not the money, it's about the kind of the disrespect. Like, you want to harm my protocol that that he helped put into effect and make. He's, he has things in his mind, plans, and he probably has a roadmap, and he probably has people coming on board, or maybe other whole governments that will, potentially use UST. We don't really know what's going on or what, non-disclosure agreements he has. But long story short, he's bullish on his protocol. I'm bullish on his protocol. Now, right now, Luna's quite expensive compared to when Gerry was telling me to buy it at like $3 to $5. So maybe a little bit of dollar cost average might be the best way to go. Either way, that's exciting. You're probably going to see a whole lot more FUD when it comes to Luna at the moment, just because it's kind of becoming super, super prominent. And, people are very tribal. Twitter's very tribal. Bitcoin versus Ethereum, and then Ethereum versus Solana. And it's just, I'm not a chain maxi. They all have pros and cons. And I think Luna has a whole lot of pros. Basically, the very, very quick TLDR, which Gerry would have covered, essentially millions and millions of dollars is going to the Luna Foundation Guard, the LFG. Let's freaking go. And they're taking that Luna and they're minting UST, which is what you can do with Luna. If you're not familiar with the Luna protocol, I'll link a video below, which you can go check out. And then what they've used is they've used $1 billion of Luna/UST where they've sold it to VCs who've agreed to lock it up for a good period of time. I think it's like 2 years or maybe longer. And they have $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. They're going to use that Bitcoin should the UST ever lose its peg. So if UST goes down to like 80 cents or 95 cents or whatever, they can deploy some of that Bitcoin to restore it back to that $1 to $1 amount peg that it needs to do. So you're going to see things like this all the time. Like you see it all the time if you just type in Luna on YouTube. Did Terra Luna print hundreds of millions of UST out of thin air and use it to buy Bitcoin? The short answer is no, they did not. It's not how it worked. Long story short, they've got $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and they want a lot more. Now they're starting to get some Bitcoin maximalists on board somehow who believe that Bitcoin is underpinning UST, which it's not. But my point is, do a bit of research if you're new to a chain. I guess that's my overall point. Now we're quickly here at CoinGecko and just having a look at the top kind of coins. I'm not going to go over anything like pricing or anything like that. Ethereum, Bitcoin, they're kind of bouncing around here. That's fine. What I'm more interested in is down here at number 8 and number 9, Terra and Solana. So Terra's all-time high is just over about $105 or something like that. Solana is unfortunately like $250. Now they're at $100. Both these should be up past XRP and Cardano. And if you like, XRP and Cardano are brilliant. But I think Terra and Solana should be above them, and I won't say any more on that. Anyway, let's have a look at the price of Prism and zoom on out. Now, it has this crazy little spike up every now and then. And I think that's because people just don't understand what they should do when it comes to buying a whole lot of something at the same time. You can see that the trading volume is quite low. This is like an altcoin, $32,000 in the last 24 hours, apparently. It's not on any centralized exchanges. It's only available here. I'm not sure if that's correct. I feel like there could be I'm not sure if this gets all the information from Astroport and other decentralized exchanges on Terra. I doubt it does. But my point here is that the protocol basically encourages staking and the price has just been going up nicely. So you might want to look into this. I certainly am very happy to hold it. And yeah, when you see these crazy little spikes, like you can see here 2 hours ago, $1.06. When you see those crazy little spikes, what it can be is like someone comes in and buys like 20 grand worth in one transaction, not realizing that they should buy $5,000 4 times when there's low liquidity in something. All right, now let's have a quick dive into Aavegotchi. Aavegotchi is something that Gerry and I are super, super bullish on, but I'll keep it nice and quick. So they've got a really, really good blog, and it's blog.aavegotchi.com. And Play2Earn gaming is what they have made their way into. And the Gotchiverse is like their metaverse. And it's due for an alpha launch, which is like early stages, where there's, still plenty of bugs and the stress tests and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be happening on the 31st of March, so in no time. And we've done numerous podcasts on this. So if you're interested in a little bit more of that information, dive into it. I guess my point here is if you want a little bit of Play2Earn kind of exposure, I'm certainly buying more Ghosts. And there's a couple of blog posts that go over the most recent news. One thing that's super, super cool about Aavegotchi is they have lending contracts. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Axie Infinity, but it's like the most successful Play2Earn networking game just in crypto in general. And it went through this crazy pump last year. And how it's done is, because I have people, scholars is what they're called, and you have to pay them once a month and you have to work out the pay. And, sometimes they don't perform. Sometimes they don't even play it for a few days. And it's all this kind of, it's all done with a trust system where they have to trust me and I have to trust them. And to be honest, it's silly. It's really silly in crypto. Whereas this is done differently. You can literally rent a Gotchi run around the Gotchiverse, do tasks, pick up some of the tokens, take them back to like a kind of like a vortex portal, and then deposit them in, and then the smart contract will split up how much you get and how much the renter gets. So that's going to be launching soon, and that's going to be sick. Now, when it comes to the price of the token, it's currently at $2.02. But if we zoom out, it's always had this kind of nice movement here. And we've talked about Ghost so often on the channel and the podcast. I won't kind of bore you too much with it, but it's an in-depth system. Basically, its market cap can get bigger exponentially. It's not a typical system. Basically, you can mint more tokens, and minting more tokens increases the price. It's cool. You can see that the all-time high, it's down 35% almost. However, that's nothing. This was November, back when Solana was $250. Ethereum was $4,500, and there's other tokens in the play-to-earn space which are down 90%. So this is pretty good. Also, what's always seemed to happen with Ghost, because it hasn't really reached hundreds of thousands of people yet, is people kind of buy it after it starts to go up. It's like whenever there's something cool coming out, like, new NFTs for the Aavegotchi space, anything like that, when they come out, or like a couple of days beforehand, Ghost starts to lift up. But right now we've got all this Metaverse news, and this is when I'm personally going and adding some more Ghost. They also have some pretty cool videos and a cool little trailer, so you can have a look at that at their Twitter, Aavegotchi. And Aavegotchi, if you're brand new and you have no idea what it is, it's basically like a digital Tamagotchi. You remember those pets back in the 90s, if you're that old? But these trailers and some of their videos are getting pretty damn good. On the subject of Aave and Aavegotchi, if you're on the Polygon network, you can go and you can go and borrow or lend your Ghost. So they now have version 3, which just makes it more efficient lending. And you can see down here, there's not a lot of liquidity at the moment, about $60,000 worth, I think. And there's about $25,000 worth, which is being borrowed. And then you have to pay 6.66% on that. However, you can go and stake it with no lockup at Aavegotchi and get like 33%. Paid in a different token, which you then have to convert and whatnot. But it's the ultimate arbitrage while prices are low. So that might be something that you want to do if you've got a little bit of the ETH stack as well. Now, as mentioned, we do have our channel, and we're putting in more and more effort with this. And Gerry stuff is gold, and we'll get better at this, of course. And I'll try and speak a little bit faster and not touch on as many things. But tune in, regularly tune in, share it with your friends. There's something for everyone here. All right, next up, we have Solana. So Solana is a chain which, I really, really like because of many reasons. However, it does have some issues where like the speed is sometimes just unusable, but it's still in beta. They've got big plans, lots of VC money, which is good and bad. But overall, they're making huge headway, and the on-ramps to Solana are very, very good. Like to get to Polygon, as an example, you go through a centralized exchange, and then, you have to kind of use bridges quite often. Not all centralized exchanges just support withdrawals and deposits from that. But with Solana, they're getting more and more centralized exchange support, and they have FTX, and FTX basically just supports every token natively onto that chain. So it's brilliant. Anyway, what I want to show you here is PUBG Battlegrounds, which is like a massive battle royale game. I think it was before Fortnite, and then Fortnite kind of took on from this success. It basically announced that its publisher announced that it will begin building games on Solana, which is epic, because any of these games, you go and buy something like a gun or anything like that, maybe another type of weapon, or what they're called skins, which are kind of like just uniforms, like a hat and whatever. You pay real money, and then after you don't want it, too bad. You can't sell it to anyone else. It just sits in your pretend wallet, and that's it. So maybe something like this could be epic. it will be epic. Carrying on with Solana, let's go over a couple of NFTs. We're just at magiceden.io, having a look at the stats. You can see that on the left-hand side. These are the collections that are doing well over the last one day. You've got DeGods. You've got a few here, of course. The ones that I'm going to mention are DeGods, Degenerate Ape Academy. I have plenty of bias for the Degen Ape Academy, just so you know. I am part of the community, and I'm part of like the moderator group in Discord, always trying to protect people from scams and help them with questions and that sort of stuff. And I've been talking about this on my personal YouTube channel for quite some time. But Degen Ape Academy, the Degenerate Ape Kindergarten, and the Degenerate Trash Pandas, all of these three collections are, in my personal opinion, 4 collections with DeGods, or they're all due for even more mooning. Now, I don't have a DeGod. I was going to get one when it was like 35 Sol, and then it just shot up, and I didn't have the capital. I think a large reason why it's doing so well is it's got a very kind of close-knit community, but they can also stake their DeGods, which obviously takes them off the open market, and then they get a token in which they can then use it to bid on things. So I don't love the art of DeGods, however, and I don't know what the good entry price is. I feel like 89 Sol is kind of too much, but I missed it completely. The other thing is when you miss something, sometimes it's not the best idea to go and chase. The next thing we've got is a Degenerate Ape Academy. So super bias, of course. However, the floor keeps on rising. In history, it's ebbed and flowed, of course, but these were like, 49 Sol very, very recently, and we'll get into why I think this is happening. But if you've got the capital and if you want one, dive in, do a lot of research, and jump into Discord. I can answer your questions there in the Degenerate Ape Academy. Now, if you can't afford that, fair enough. The other thing which has gone crazy is the Degenerate Ape Kindergarten. And basically, there was this big breeding expedition, I guess, with the apes, and it just finished, and 45% of all the apes that entered, which was like 4,300 or something like that. Like 4,900. They got an egg airdrop to them. And these then launched. People started selling them for about 20 Sol, and now the floor's up to 33 Sol. So, that's like over $3,000. So if you're looking into the Degeniverse in general, so the art is all done by Monolith, all 3 collections. There's one thing I should add about this. These eggs, that's not their final state. They will change. They will crack. Something will come out of them. Exactly what, we have no idea. But I'll do another video on that, like specifically on eggs, in the coming kind of week or so. But if you want to dive in now, dive into Discord and ask some questions. What could be a better entry? And I've piped on about the Degenerate Trash Pandas regularly, since like 1.8 Sol, and another floor is coming up. Once again, it all relates to other marketplaces coming onto Solana, and Solana's going through this bit of a transition where there's a whole lot of crappy NFT projects out there, and people are starting to like some of the other ones, such as the Degenerate Trash Pandas. There's quite a few reasons for that as well. But long story short, have a look in the Degenerate Trash Panda Discord. Specifically, just ask some of the team there regarding the Raindrops protocol. It's a protocol that the lead dev has created, which potentially, if you own a panda and if you jump through some hoops, do some fun things to qualify, don't know what that means exactly, but you make an airdrop of rain as well. I don't know exactly when that's launching, but it's a good idea, in my opinion, to have a couple of Degen Trash Pandas. Next up, there's a new marketplace that's launched, Soulport.io. It's it's not competing at the moment. It's just very, very new. I haven't used it yet. Just putting it on your radar. I'm not sure how correct this is, but 2,400 sales, 68 daily sales, and it may be somewhere where you want to look to buy something or maybe to list something for sale, which is entirely up to you, of course. it has a huge amount of potential. The fees are the same as Magic Eden. And at the moment, I still really like Magic Eden, to be honest, but I'm always keen for a competitor to come along and to force everyone to keep on innovating. Now, a big reason probably why we're going to see, the good collections of Solana NFTs raise on up with that floor price is because there's leaked images basically saying that Opensea will be launching sometime soon on Solana. These images are just, they don't show a whole lot. However, Opensea is coming. They're definitely going to be coming to Solana, where getting NFTs because the gas is less than a cent. It's a no-brainer. So exactly when they launch, I'm not sure, but it's going to bring a whole lot of people from Ethereum over, and that's bullish for Solana. So due to that reason, having a little bit of Solana could be a go as well. The next thing that I'm just going to draw to your attention is the Aurory project, which is play-to-earn gaming as well, built on Solana. I am still doing a massive deep dive into this, and that will be released hopefully like in a week or week and a half. But bullish on this, properly bullish. And in terms of the token is the Aurory token, AURY. The market cap's very, very small, at like $76 million. And like, this is just full of Ubisoft and other gaming studios people. Like, they're shipping this. I think they have like venture capitalists funding of like 150 million or something. I need to kind of double check that fact. But basically what I'm kind of looking at is when it first came out, it was done via an IDO, and the IDO price was like almost double of what we have now. I think it was around $12 or thereabouts, maybe $12 to $15. It came on up quite quickly to $23, and then it's come on down. And the lowest it's been was just under $8, and now it's like $8.09. So I'll be adding a little bit more Aurory to my bags. I did buy like $15 or something, and that's fine with me. And then you can stake it on chain. So if you have it in your Solana wallet, such as Slope wallet, you can come along and you can stake it for 29% gains, or if you want to lock it up a little bit longer, 56%. And then they have NFTs, but I'll go over that when my kind of big research video comes out. Moving on quickly a little bit further, Portals is an epic project that's building on Solana. And they're, I don't know what they cost at the moment. They're quite expensive. They're like 50 to 70 Sol for an access card. Oh, they dropped 42 Sol. Okay. But basically you can build out your space on this, and they are working out renting. So you'll be able to rent your metaverse space to someone else, which could be super epic. So make sure you're following Portals. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be a lot of people that can afford to go and drop 42 Sol on one of these, but regardless, it's going to be a super epic project in the metaverse space. Now quickly onto the Hog Lottery. Now, I've covered lottery applications before, or in particular just one, draffle.io, which is on Solana as well. I think they were too early, so they kind of launched last year when everyone was hyped about NFTs, but now they're more hyped about like blue chip NFTs, so like the good projects. So I think it was like just wrong timing. They built this cool tech, and now the Hog Lottery has come along, and kind of right time. Now they've actually been around since at least January, when back then they were doing like $3 Hog Lottery tickets, and now it's a little bit different. It's done in Solana. I didn't find out about this until very, very recently, like a week ago. But basically, I own a few hogs, like 5 or so, maybe 10, and they're still minting out. Like, it's a very slow mint, but these gives you access to have a bit of a gamble, essentially. So So here we are. I mean, they joined last year, Twitter, and I have a feeling they just initially launched as just maybe an NFT project. And from there, they realized, let's add some utility or whatever. Exactly what all their plans are, it's all loosely kind of defined. There's no white paper that I've read. I've jumped into Discord and annoyed them with requests for different things to be raffling off. But as you can see up here, if you have one of these NFTs in your wallet, you get 50% off the tickets and earn profit share by staking. The earn profit share by staking, none of that's live yet. But I think, if that eventuates, these could be really, really cool because the 0.5 Sol, so like $45 to $50, very reasonable. So you may want to consider getting some. To get some, just go to hoglottery.com. But I just came down here, clicked on here, and then I minted away. And then all of a sudden, you get a whole lot cheaper entry into tickets. What's happened at the moment, it's just kind of blown up. They just did a very smart move. They raffled off another Degen Egg, this one here, very, very recently. And it just got on the radar of lots of people that like blue chips. They then did these ones. These ones were all raffled off at 4 a.m. my time, so I didn't even bother with that. And then I just started telling them to get Degen Eggs on immediately. And I requested it maybe a few too many times, but they did. So how it works is if you have that hog, it costs you half price. And as you can see, if these were all minted out with just NFT holders, because they have kind of the pre-sale rights, and then after 24 hours, it goes to the public at double the price. Recently, everything's been minting out within the pre-sale, sometimes within minutes. And in this case, I'm pretty sure this happened. Oh, this definitely happened with the Degen Egg. I'm not sure. I'm not sure with the ape. I think it went to the public for the ape. I can't really remember. But ever since then, it's just minted out really quickly. I think this one minted out in 8 minutes or something insane. This minted out in about an hour and a half, raising almost 37 Sol. And now one of these eggs is worth 31 Sol. This will be drawn tomorrow. And then the next egg to be raffled is this one. And this is a bit more of a gambling thing. Now, you might not want to gamble. You might be a little bit more smarter. But quite often when you buy an NFT, you're gambling anyway, especially if you're just kind of aping into things and if you are being actual degen. So these do have their use because, you win, you're just oh, I'm happy. So some people, like myself, I'm going to be quite content to come and put 1 Sol, get a ticket, and see what happens. I'll probably get 2 tickets. Or maybe a few more, we'll see. Don't want to be too silly, but I do love the eggs. So they are super, super cool. Hog Lottery, check them out if you're keen. All right, now a little bit of annoying news. Just be safe out there, of course. The Cashioapp app, which is like a kind of USD stablecoin kind of thing on Solana, which was supported by Saber, which is kind of like the curve of Solana. They had an exploit and they lost $50 million. So that was pretty rubbish. Exactly if they're going to be able to get any of that back, I have no idea. Saber has the coffers for it. It's not part of Saber, but there's some sort of link there, so maybe they'll come and bail out people a little bit. But just be mindful of doing anything like degenning into these things. Now, the contracts were audited, but audits are still missed. It's going to be years and years before audits get to a point where there's a considerable amount of trust. And especially when you've got Ethereum audits that have been going for a couple of years, Solana's, less than a year. It's going to take quite a bit of time to get there. So just keep that in mind and just be safe out there. But more importantly, Arthur, he was hacked. So Arthur, he's founder of Defiance Capital. He lost, it's not funny, sorry. He lost more than $1.6 million worth of NFTs in a hack. A couple issues with that, use a ledger, use a hardware wallet. This was a hot wallet, so just your MetaMask. Don't have that kind of wealth in your MetaMask. That's just lazy. I know people have it. like, you don't want it to happen to you. And I think this guy had been in crypto for 5 years. Anyway, the summary of what happened is he downloaded an Excel spreadsheet or like a document, a Word document from Google. It wasn't. And it has these little wee kind of executable programs that can then install a keylogger or remote access. And from there, it was game over and it was drained. It was only his hot wallet, and that was how it happened. So I'll give you a little bit more information on that. It's super important that you just are very mindful of what you're downloading. It's no longer just a simple, okay, it's a PDF, I can download it. Oh, it's this, I can download it. If in doubt, it's probably best to have them send you a Google document, and then you open it in your browser at like a Google Doc, and then you can see what it is. And if you want to up your security even more, then you'd have a virtual box on your machine. But that's probably too much effort for the time being. Anyway, right now I'm in the Whiteboard Cryptos Discord, and Theodore basically runs out just, how this kind of works. So, someone sends you a link, it asks you to download a file, you open the file, the Excel has a macro function. It's an automated script that gets run just by opening the file. You don't even have to uninstall it. And these macros are brilliant for many things, but they can be used in very creative ways. And people are losing millions of dollars through these things. And the attacker could now, and probably does, have computer control, webcam, keystrokes, potentially even MetaMask passwords. They can also just be things like mining software things, and they can just mine software on the down low. But, either way, you don't want these on your computer. So here's an example of someone where they try to target him. The guy's big-brained guy. He didn't fall for any of the silliness. What he did was he downloaded it on a VirtualBox deliberately, so he could then illustrate that basically there was an executable actually hidden in this file. But regardless, just be safe out there. Be really, really safe. If you think you're being overly cautious, you probably can be a whole lot more cautious. There's so many more things you can do for operational security. It's a boring topic, but if you're targeted and if you're hit, then you'll understand the importance of doing it. So don't wait. Just act now. And finally, Gamestop NFT marketplace powered by Loopring, which is a layer 2 solution, built on the kind of the Ethereum, or plugs in with Ethereum. They are launching soon. Now, if you're unfamiliar with GameStop, do you remember like all that crazy kind of shorting and the share price of GameStop? I think like beginning of last year, just went crazy from like, I don't know, $8 or something up to like $500, and then venture capitalists stopped you from selling it. Robinhood wouldn't allow you to sell it. It was nuts. But the point there is, this could be pretty cool. Exactly how it's going to play out, who knows? There's nothing here on the website at the moment, but I reckon it would be very well worth diving in, following them on Twitter, jumping into their Discord, and seeing what could eventuate here, especially if Wall Street Bets kind of gets involved with all that. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, maybe share a section because I know it was quite long. But we'll catch you in the next alpha update, and I'll cover less things in a faster amount of time. Cheers.